Hello everyone, welcome to Literature Warriors. If you have not subscribed my channel yet, subscribe it to watch more videos like this based on O-level and A-level English literature. So today in this video I'm going to discuss the plot summary of the novel The Vendor of Sweets by R.K. Narayan. As we all know, the protagonist of the novel is Jagan, who is a 55-year-old sweetmeat vendor, and he's near his 60 now, a successful businessman, a vehement follower of Mahatma Gandhi. So he's actually an ardent, vehement follower of Mahatma Gandhi. He has worked in the Gandhian struggles and he's famous in the area for his shrewd business skills, and he is actually a successful businessman, and he's an honest, hardworking and humble resident of Malgudi. Malgudi is the fictional town in India. We find this fictional town Malgudi in most of R.K. Narayan's novels. When talking more about Jagan's character, in his youth, he was deeply influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. He has given up his education, his family, and his peaceful life to become a member in India's struggle for freedom from British Empire. So, as we all know, Mahatma Gandhi was a great leader in the freedom struggle in India. So, in that struggle, Jagan has also taken part. Jagan is a religious person, and we can see that he is always associated with Bhagavad Gita, and it is a form of staple of his life actually, and his natural and simple theories of life forms the pivotal role of his life. He even desires to publish his natural way of living in a form of a book, but it becomes a futile effort as it never gets printed. So I guess you can remember when we hear about the natural and simple living theories of Jagan, he has given up eating salt and sugar, and he's leading quite a simple lifestyle. He's not having any excess things with him, even the clothes, and though he has a lot of money and though he has collected a lot of money, he's leading a very simple life. His house is also not it doesn't seem like a rich house, but he is a rich businessman. He is a shrewd, successful businessman, but his natural and simple living theories has made him live a life like this. And then Jagan's wife Ambika dies from a brain tumor and leaves him care for his only son. So Jagan's wife Ambika dies when Mali, the son of Jagan and Ambika, was just 6 years old, and his son Mali suddenly wants to give up his education when he was a teenager and wants to become a writer. So that becomes a kind of a critical point in Jagan's life, and it becomes a turning point in both the lives of Jagan and Mali. Mali then decides to study creative writing in America. And Jagan's cousin always helps Jagan in taking decisions, and he usually becomes a middleman of Jagan and Mali. So this cousin is not actually the blood relation of Jagan, but he is famous in this town as cousin, and he's the cousin for everyone. But this cousin is a kind of a significant person, a significant character throughout the novel. We find him as a middleman where Jagan's ideas are shared to Mali, and where Mali's ideas are shared to Jagan. Because this Jagan and Mali, though they are father and son, they are not interacting with each other directly. Most of the time they avoid each other. And this cousin's character is very sociable and he's very informative, and he seems to be a significant character throughout the novel. Well, then, after Mali thinks of leaving his education, giving up his education, Mali takes the money from his father's hidden treasure to fulfill his expenditures. And eventually Jagan comes to know about this theft of his own son, but he accepts it and accepts this diversion with good heart. He tells that he appreciates what Mali did. Mali returns to Malgudi very westernized and brings along a half American, half Korean girl, Grace, whom Mali claims as his wife. So after going to America, there are certain things happen. Jagan is waiting for a letter from Mali, and Mali rarely sends a letter. And but what Jagan did was, Jagan has replaced the letter. Instead of Bhagavad Gita, where he always used to read, so after getting the letters from Mali, he has used to read the letters instead of Bhagavad Gita. So so after that, Mali returns to Malgudi as a very westernized man, and even his suits and his formation, his structure is not suitable for this typical Indian Malgudi town. However, he comes back to Malgudi, and not alone, but with another person, a girl who is half American and half Korean, and her name is Grace, and whatever Mali calls her as his wife. Then soon Mali expresses his grandiose scheme of starting a machine factory with the association of some anonymous business partners from America. So he comes back. So we come to know that he has come back with certain hopes in his mind, and also we come to know that he hasn't completed what he wanted to complete in America, and instead he is now going to do another kind of a business, and he says that there are some businessmen who are helping him. Then he needs help from Jagan as well, and Jagan is unwilling to provide the financial infrastructure of this venture because he feels it's a risky task. And this causes a conflict between Jagan and Mali. They were always having a conflict between them because of the generation gap and their mismatching ideas. But after this incident, this financial issue, they become more detached with each other. Well, then Jagan decides to retire from active working now because he feels really frustrated with Mali did and Mali is doing at the moment, and so now he's having a kind of a self-realization about himself, and he realizes that he has neither become successful in bringing up his son, and even his second attempt of going to America and making his son's dream fulfill, it was also a kind of a futile effort. And through an unexpected meeting, Jagan meets the bearded man who makes him contemplate on his life and suddenly falls into a recollection of his happy past, strengthens his need for reconciliation. So at the later part of the novel, we find that this bearded man becomes a kind of a savior in the life of Jagan, and he he makes the turning point of Jagan's life, and with his ideas, and although whatever his intention is, although whatever the intention of the bearded man was, Jagan had a turning point in his life with his ideas and his thoughts. And in the meantime, now at once Jagan decides to go to a retreat. Mali is caught up by the police for driving under the influence of alcohol. Jagan then asks his cousin to make sure that Mali stays in the prison for some time and that he can learn his mistakes. So at this point, Jagan has understood the mistakes of Mali, and now earlier he was actually, as a father, he was blind with love towards his own son Mali, and he wanted to fulfill all his needs and wants. But at this stage he has come to a certain understanding, certain realization that Mali, what Mali did was, everything he did was quite unsuccessful, and he is not going to do something good in the future too. So because we come to know that in the meantime we come to know that Mali has not married Grace as well, and Jagan wanted to make them married, but Mali did not accept that. And then he also leaves Grace without having any consideration towards her, and finally he has caught up by the police. And Jagan thinks that considering all these things, he's kind of having a realization about all these things. He thinks that Mali should have some kind of a punishment, and then he follows up. And finally he asks the cousin to buy a air ticket for Grace to return back to her own motherland. So that is the end of the plot summary of The Vendor of Spades.